Hey, if you thought your life was spiraling into utter garbage, trust me, the world's got you beat. I'm talking insane tariffs slapping your paycheck like an angry ex, ICE swooping in on Hyundai plants like it's a damn sweat raid, and Israel bombing more buildings than a Hollywood action flick. Meanwhile, the sun itself decided, you know what? Let's throw a flare just to mess with Earth's Wi-Fi. Welcome to this glorious, post-apocalyptic news cycle from hell, where bad decisions meet even worse timing. So grab your beer, your tinfoil hat, or the half-baked conspiracy theory you've been nursing, because we're diving headfirst into the dumpster fire of today's most mind-blowing headlines. Spoiler alert, you're not going to believe how much of this nonsense directly affects you, unless you live under a rock, in which case, congrats. You've been doing it right. Alright, let's start with Trump and his never-ending love affair with tariffs. Because why just break the economy a little when you can absolutely annihilate it, am I right? So, apparently, the administration just slapped a 50% tax on steel and aluminum again, and they've thrown in 400 more products for good measure. That's not a tax policy. That's a full-on vendetta against your shopping habits. I saw one dude tweet, "Great, now my burgers cost more than my rent." And honestly, same, bro, same. Suddenly, every time I reach for a can of beans, I half expect it to have a receipt from the Trump tax office. Oh, and speaking of deportations disguised as economic policy, ICE decided to waltz into a Hyundai plant in Georgia and arrest nearly 500 people. Yeah, you heard me, 500. And the best part? Trump's solution to fix it is to get foreign companies to train Americans. Because nothing screams economic genius like building the very thing you want Americans to operate with half your workforce already arrested. Meanwhile, Israel's out there playing whack-a-mole in Gaza. Over 50 people dead and a high-rise bombed like it was Black Friday clearance. And just when you thought diplomacy might be alive, Israel goes ahead and bombs Hamas officials in Qatar because peace negotiations clearly require fireworks. Then we shift to Poland, where Russia's been sending drones across the border like they're delivering Amazon packages you didn't ask for. The Polish government is basically screaming at NATO, "Hello? Anybody home?" Meanwhile, we're all collectively holding our breath because yeah, that sounds like the first chapter of the next World War. Oh, and here's a kicker. The sun decided to throw a tantrum and unleashed a sea-glass solar flare. Basically, the sun went, "You guys need some more chaos?" And boom, satellites, communications, probably your microwave, might be affected. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if God himself is face-palming somewhere up there. And if you're thinking, well, surely this can't get crazier, hold on, because it absolutely does. Stay tuned for the next batch of cosmic absurdity and governmental blunders that'll make you wonder if we're all extras in some dystopian comedy special. Alright, let's not stop at just geopolitical disasters and corporate nightmare fuel. Oh no, let's take a detour into the absolutely ridiculous realm of healthcare. You know, the system where if you sneeze wrong, you get billed $10,000 and an existential crisis. So get this, a new report just dropped saying that nearly 40% of Americans are delaying medical care because they're too broke or scared of getting a bill that could have paid off a small nation's debt. And, not surprisingly, this is causing a slow-motion public health collapse. One guy tweeted, "My copay is higher than my monthly rent." What's next? Copay for breathing. Honestly, I laughed so hard, I almost choked on my last payment reminder from Blue Cross. Meanwhile, in the digital jungle that is social media, things are getting weirder by the second. TikTok just became a breeding ground for, wait for it, conspiracy theorists claiming the government is implanting microchips through mRNA vaccines. I swear, I'm one meme away from thinking Area 51 is hosting webinars on how to hide your alien life form from your spouse. A video going viral right now shows a dude trying to scan his arm with a barcode scanner, convinced it'll reveal the chip. Spoiler, it just displays no product found. Classic. Oh, and the FBI decided now is the perfect time to announce that they're investigating woke corporations for promoting radical ideologies. Because apparently, acknowledging that people are different and deserve respect is now a national security threat. Somebody, somewhere is definitely cashing in on that paranoia economy. Let's not forget the housing market, the world's most vicious game of Monopoly played by billionaires. The latest numbers say the average American needs to earn around $100,000 per year just to afford a modest two-bedroom apartment. Yeah, and half of us are making what? $45,000 a year? I saw someone on Reddit exclaim, "We're not renting anymore. We're leasing our dignity." And honestly, I can't argue with that. Oh wait, global crises? We got The World Health Organization just issued a warning about a potential global water shortage hitting by 2030. The same folks who assure us that washing our hands helps more than a tinfoil hat suddenly say, hey, maybe don't waste water on your avocado toast. Meanwhile, countries in Africa and Asia are already feeling the heat, literally. Imagine explaining to your grandkids that their great-grandparents had running water and pizza delivery, and now they're bartering for bottled water and canned sardines. Meanwhile, China is flexing harder than ever, boasting that their economy is now the largest in the world by purchasing power parity. And America's response? A half-hearted tweet, maybe some tariffs, and an existential sigh. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. And don't even get me started on the climate summit last week. Leaders from around the world gathered to discuss cutting emissions while private jets took off like it was a Formula One race. I saw one delegate joke, "We've agreed to fight climate change, as long as it doesn't interrupt our golf game." The real MVP? Greta Thunberg's look of eternal disappointment. Let me tell you about the latest space race, because apparently, Earth's problems weren't enough. Billionaires are now launching themselves into orbit as if it's the new rich people's country club. Jeff Bezos just blasted off again while claiming it's for science and humanity. Yeah, Jeff, sure, science and humanity. Next thing you know, Mark Zuckerberg's gonna buy Mars and host virtual reality parties there. And just when you thought the internet couldn't get any more toxic, it turns out the biggest debate this week isn't about politics or war, it's about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. That's right, people are arguing about fruit on cheese like it's the most urgent existential question of our time. The good old American spirit of wasting time fighting pointless battles marches on. So yeah, that's just scratching the surface of the news nightmare that's been unfolding like a badly written dystopian novel. And we're only halfway through this circus of despair. Now, let's pivot to the education system, or what's left of it, because apparently, schools are now the frontline battlefields of the culture war. One state just banned the teaching of critical race theory, because obviously, acknowledging historical facts is apparently more dangerous than nuclear war. A parent tweeted, "I didn't sign up for history class. I signed up for Make America Comfortable Again." Spot on, Karen, spot on. Meanwhile, teachers are out here trying to teach kids math and reading while dealing with parents showing up to meetings dressed like they're auditioning for a reality show. I saw a principal go viral for saying, "We are not your daycare service, your therapist, or your political echo chamber." Someone replied, "So basically, we're funding your stand-up comedy gig." And at this point, I can't argue. Oh, and speaking of mental health, because of the skyrocketing inflation and job instability, suicide rates are climbing like they just discovered an escalator. But instead of fixing the system, the government's solution is a hotline with a hold time longer than the line for toilet paper during the pandemic. Someone joked, "I called for help, and now I'm just on hold with existential dread." Relatable. Now, the job market. That beautiful wasteland where you need a degree, 5 years of experience, and a motivational speech just to bag a job at Starbucks. The latest numbers say job openings are at an all-time high, but nobody's applying because, guess what? Minimum wage is still a joke. I saw a TikTok video where a guy said, "I'd rather start my own MLM scheme than apply for a job that pays less than my student loans." And honestly, sounds like a business plan at this point. Oh, and just for kicks, did you hear about the megacorporation scandal this week? Apparently, some huge conglomerate was caught dumping toxic waste in the middle of nowhere, and the CEO's excuse was, "We thought the locals wouldn't notice." Yeah, because nothing says corporate responsibility like poisoning people while laughing in your private jet. Somebody joked, "At least they're consistently terrible." Meanwhile, in entertainment news, Hollywood's newest blockbuster is about an AI taking over the world and enslaving humanity. Because, yeah, what better way to prepare the public for reality than showing them their worst nightmare in a movie? I swear, the script was probably written by the same people who think 5G causes brain cancer. A critic tweeted, "It's so bad, I think it's a documentary." I can't argue. And in the most absurd headline of the week, apparently, a billionaire just bought an entire island to live off-grid because buying a small nation wasn't extravagant enough. He tweeted, "Escaping society to build the ultimate man cave." Meanwhile, the rest of us are trying to figure out how to afford ramen and a Netflix subscription. Let me not forget the sports world, where the NFL is now embroiled in a scandal over players allegedly taking performance-enhancing memes. Yeah, instead of steroids, it's like, "Bro, this dank Pepe meme makes me run faster." The commissioner's response? "We are investigating the authenticity of the meme sources." Because apparently, memes are the new PEDs. Someone posted, "Next up, ban TikTok dances during halftime." Oh, and guess who decided to make a comeback this week? The old "are video games making kids violent" debate. Except now it's being fueled by a study that somehow links Fortnite dances to moral decay. I swear, the report's conclusion was, kids are dancing too much, which makes them bad people. Someone joked, "Back in my day, we just played outside and ruined sidewalks." Same, brother, same. Meanwhile, in the grand tradition of government oversight, the latest bill on Capitol Hill proposes that all social media accounts be verified with a government-issued ID. Yeah, because nothing says free speech like mandatory identity checks. A meme circulating right now reads, "Welcome to America, where even your tweets need a license." Oh, and let's talk about the absolute piece de resistance. The crypto market is tanking harder than my will to live on a Monday morning. Bitcoin's down 25%, Ethereum's barely holding on, and some new coin called meme coin is apparently worth less than the era it's minted in. I saw one Reddit post say, "Invested my life savings into meme coin. Now I'm considering living in a cardboard box." Honestly, at this point, it's poetic. Yeah, it's all happening, folks. And we're right in the middle of it, watching the show unfold like it's the final season of a show nobody wanted in the first place. So grab another drink, because we're only halfway through this tragicomedy of errors. Let's talk about the environment, because apparently Mother Earth is having a meltdown, and not the cute, relatable kind. No, I'm talking about the kind where glaciers melt faster than my will to socialize on a Sunday. So, the latest report came out, and apparently, carbon emissions hit a new all-time high this year. Yeah, and world leaders, bless their hearts, are still arguing over who gets to pollute more. One politician said, "We're committed to reducing emissions by 0.00001% by 2030. Someone replied, "At this rate, by 2090, we'll have a clean beach in Antarctica, maybe." Honestly, it's hard to tell if it's tragic or just another bad meme. Meanwhile, wildfires are spreading across the West like it's the season finale of Earth's destruction. California's burning, Oregon's burning, and half the forests are now just ash with a side of despair. I saw one firefighter tweet, "We're fighting fires and fighting bureaucracy. The real inferno." And really, at this point, bureaucracy is the wildfire we didn't see coming. Oh, and remember when they told us to switch to electric cars to save the planet? Yeah, good luck with that, because now we have battery shortages making EVs more expensive than gold-plated Teslas. Meanwhile, lithium mining is turning more landscapes into moonscapes. Someone joked, "We're saving the planet by wrecking it differently." Welcome to sustainable hypocrisy. On the international front, the UN just announced a summit about global peace, which, spoiler alert, is basically just a group of diplomats awkwardly nodding while the planet slowly collapses. The hashtag trending? Hashtag hope for the best 2025. As if that's going to fix anything. Oh, and speaking of peace, have you seen the latest updates from Afghanistan? The country's economy is officially in free fall. The Taliban is apparently running it like a mafia syndicate, and the citizens are trying to survive the whole mess like extras in a war-torn indie film. One Afghan tweeted, "We don't need foreign aid. We need a miracle." Honestly, who is it with you on that one? Let's pivot to technology, because nothing screams progress like invasive surveillance. A major tech company just rolled out facial recognition software that now tracks you even when you're asleep. Yeah, because apparently, your dreams are public property. Someone joked, "Big Brother isn't watching you. He's in your nightmares now." Feels accurate. And get this, the latest smart home device now listens in on conversations to suggest products. I swear, I don't even need to Google what I want anymore. My fridge texts me, "Hey idiot, buy more beer." I mean, at this point, my appliances are more emotionally supportive than half my friends. Meanwhile, Big Pharma is at it again. A pharmaceutical giant was caught hiking the price of insulin by 1,000% because market forces. Yeah, the same market forces that explain why my rent tripled every year while my salary stays flat. Someone quipped, "Capitalism, but make it deadly." Dead on. Oh, and in the land of entertainment, influencers are now endorsing anti-vaccine supplements while sipping kombucha in their private jets. I saw one post go viral where a health guru claimed their CBD oil cures existential dread and probably also world hunger. Someone responded, "And I suppose it also pays my taxes?" Honestly, this is peak 2025 absurdity. And you know what's making a comeback? Conspiracy theories. Forget aliens walking among us. Now it's all about secret government weather control experiments. Apparently, every thunderstorm is now a man-made weapon to control your mood. I swear, someone toasted, "My umbrella isn't shielding me from rain. It's government mind control rays." At this point, it doesn't sound any crazier than the actual news. Meanwhile, in politics, oh man, politics. The latest scandal involves a senator caught using campaign funds to buy luxury yachts. Yeah, because nothing screams public service like sunbathing on someone else's dime. The defense? It was for official meetings. Official meetings involving martinis and zero productivity. And don't get me started on election integrity debates. One side claims every vote counts, except when it doesn't. The other side insists that voting machines are rigged, because obviously, punching a digital button is the pinnacle of fraudulence. Meanwhile, most Americans are like, "Can I just vote by carrier pigeon at this point?" Meanwhile, somewhere in the background, the world economy is unraveling like a sweater that's been in a washing machine too long. Inflation is so out of control, your kid's allowance now costs you a mortgage payment. I saw someone tweet, "Buying a gallon of milk feels like signing a life insurance policy." It's tragic, hilarious, and absolutely relatable. So yeah, while we scroll, click, rant, and pretend we have control over our own lives, the world's just marching toward whatever this hellcape is. And honestly, I'm here for the show. Alright, now let's dive deeper into the absolute absurdity that is our transportation system, because apparently, we're living in the Stone Age, but with fancier traffic lights. First up, the airline industry. Remember when flying was considered a luxury experience? Yeah. That ended sometime around the early 2000s, right before you realized that airplane food tastes like sadness and regret. The latest scandal? Airlines are now charging for literally everything. Checked bag? That'll be $50. Seat selection? $30. Breathing next to someone coughing their lungs out? Priceless, but still $10 extra. One viral tweet read, "I paid $500 just to sit on a metal tube for 4 hours. I think I deserve frequent flyer miles to hell." Honestly, that's where most of us are headed at this point. Meanwhile, car manufacturers are having their own breakdown. Supply chain issues from the pandemic still haven't healed, and now, chip shortages are making new cars as rare as a polite argument on Facebook. Electric vehicles, supposedly the future of green driving, are now luxury items only billionaires and tech bros can afford. I saw a meme that read, "Elon Musk wants you to save the planet, but he'll charge you $100,000 for the privilege." Accurate. Oh, and public transportation? Laughable. The bus system is running late so often that some cities are now experimenting with, wait for it, rental pogo sticks. Yeah, because nothing says modern commuting like bouncing to your job interview. Let's switch gears to food, because apparently eating is now another form of existential punishment. Groceries are so expensive that buying a loaf of bread feels like you're making a federal tax payment. One guy posted, "I bought a single avocado yesterday, and now I'm considering selling my kidney." Meanwhile, fast food chains are rebranding dollar menus into premium pricing tiers. A Twitter user quipped, "I just bought a burger that costs more than my monthly Netflix subscription." Priorities. And don't get me started on food shortages. The latest report says chicken wings are in such short supply that sports bars are now serving, well, sadness. One meme going around shows a plate with a single sad wing next to a glass of disappointment. Moving on to entertainment, because let's be honest, that's the only thing keeping us sane. Streaming services have now become the new cable TV, except with worse choices and higher costs. Netflix raised its prices again, and HBO Max just announced their latest exclusive series, Is Someone Pretending to Be Interesting? People are now subscribing to like 10 different platforms just to watch one good show, if that. Meanwhile, TikTok remains the prime breeding ground for viral nonsense. From how to live forever, conspiracy videos to evidence aliens secretly control the stock market, it's a digital circus. The most trending video right now is some guy making a detailed 45-minute argument that the government controls the weather to sell umbrellas. And people are actually debating it. I swear, if 2025 doesn't end in a massive reboot, we're all going to be in deep trouble. Oh, and in case you forgot about sports, the NBA has managed to turn its playoff series into an endless debate over political statements. Every player now has to announce their stance on international conflicts before shooting free throws. The commissioner tweeted, "We support free expression." Meanwhile, fans are like, "Can we just get back to watching grown men throw a ball in a hoop, please?" Meanwhile, the stock market has been on a roller coaster designed by someone who hates investors. Tech stocks tank, crypto plummets, and government bonds are about as valuable as my dreams of early retirement. One Reddit post summed it up perfectly. "My portfolio looks like a Jackson Pollock painting, abstract and completely incomprehensible." And guess what's trending in the completely avoidable disasters category? Data breaches. Yeah, big companies are leaking your private information like it's a 90s AOL chat room. This week, a major bank exposed 10 million customer records. Someone joked, apparently, privacy is now just a myth from the good old days when people used paper instead of webcams. Valid. Let's not forget the most mind-blowing yet utterly predictable thing, politicians arguing over whether the climate crisis exists. One senator tweeted, "Climate change is a hoax perpetuated by the deep state to control your thermostat." Meanwhile, glaciers continue to melt, and coastal cities prepare for their inevitable baptism by seawater. And lastly, a little gem from corporate America. A fast food chain just introduced a vegan burger that contains 0% actual vegetables. Someone posted, "It's plant-based, unless you count disappointment and empty promises." Honestly, I laughed so hard I almost cried. So yeah, there you have it. Every single sector of modern life has somehow managed to collapse in the most spectacularly stupid way possible. Welcome to 2025, where bad decisions breed worse memes, and the apocalypse is just one bad tweet away. Well, folks, we've officially survived another tour through the circus of absolute madness that is 2025. Tariffs that make your wallet scream, ICE raids that feel like dystopian movie scenes, corporate scandals that are more predictable than a sunrise, and climate reports that might as well come with a countdown clock. At this point, it's hard to tell if we're living in a poorly scripted reality show or if the planet just decided to take a permanent nap. But hey, what can you do, right? We keep scrolling, we keep ranting, and we keep laughing at the absurdity because crying is just too mainstream. So go ahead, smash that like button like it owes you money, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell like it's your last shot at staying sane. Because trust me, the next insane chapter of this never-ending tragedy is already brewing, and you don't want to miss it. Stay paranoid, stay caffeinated, and stay tuned, because in this dumpster fire of existence, we're the ones holding the hose, and most of the time, we're just making it worse.